Hey guys, George here, and today what I'd like to bring to you is an after-action report for East Wind AP191, and I played this game solo from start to finish as to the largest extent that I could. It's a very interesting scenario. It has also a starter kit map as well as two geomorphic map boards that came with the last scenario pack from MMP. Forget its name, doesn't matter. In the meantime, I've also lost my rad charts again one more time and misplaced them. This heap of mess. But I printed out a couple of my own charts, and I'm also on an ongoing basis trying to complete the charts in Excel so I can have an electronic version, a second backup electronic version of them. Very interesting scenario. I think it's a beautiful scenario to play while you're actually in the middle of a snowstorm because it features extreme weather. And in this case, I did not end up getting any falling snow. Um, I thought that mist was in place, and that was one thing that was confusing. Do I have an LV or not? I know for camouflaged units, you end up having an LV beyond 8 hexes. And then there's an additional cumulative LV if you have falling snow. But if there isn't any falling snow and you just have snow on the ground, um, other than the movement factor, movement point penalty, I was really confused as to whether there was an LV or not. In any case, what happened in the Russian player turn number one is that the Russians successfully landed a rocket OBA right in the middle of this village on board Q and rubbled one building. And I'm pretty sure we ended up getting some casualties as a German player. Just a half squad. I did deploy. So that was all fine and dandy. It wasn't too much damage. The other thing that I did with the Russians is I set them up on a hill as opposed to setting them up too close to board Q, just to get a couple of extra movement factors. And I think it was worth it. Um, my only regret was I didn't go CX to begin with. Um, so I did make some progress, and I did manage to eliminate one unit and break quite a few German units and wound a leader. The sniper did not play a factor in this game much, but let's go on um, with the with the logs and see what transpired. So here it looks like I rolled gusts, so there was going to be gusts for one turn. Here's my soft rally. Did not succeed in rallying any German troops. And now I started peppering away at the Russians, and I had to reveal some units in order to commence firing at the advancing Russian units. There was quite a lot of firepower gathered up in less than one turn. So here we are, best order leaders leading the vanguard of this attack. There's another commissar there. Uh, I almost forgot to treat him like a commissar because he usually increases the morale factor by one. So something to keep in mind is that you do have a commissar here. So your units are actually a 9 morale factor, not an 8. I may have made that mistake, overlooked it. There's a morale check scored by the Germans and resulting in ELR. Now, the one thing that was really effective in this game were the AT guns as anti infantry guns as opposed to anti armored guns, and I'm not sure why this fellow here got set up here where he had no chance of hitting anybody except from the rear. But it is what it is. You may have forgotten concealment. It was a miss, but You did get in any case. Concealment affords you a +2 penalty against any 2-hit rolls if you're concealed. Also, if you're concealed in rally terrain or concealment terrain, rather, then you're not known to an observer, and it forces them to roll or get another chip for artillery. What I'm doing here is trying to position my German troops in order to meet the ongoing or the oncoming Russian onslaught. Let's see. Whoa, that's too much of a zoom out. Okay. So now we're routing. Turn 1, German rout phase. And we are on to Russian turn 2. This is the rally phase. We already broke some support weapons because at this point in time, with extreme weather being prior to 1942, the German support weapons can malfunction uh, with 2 less than their breakdown numbers. There you go. And right off the bat, we're beginning to move. And we're making quite a lot of progress on the left flank. The center is not so bad. And here comes the observer coming down the board. Whee, using the skis. I may have inadvertently entered into a building with skis on. You just don't do that. You're not allowed. And now, for some reason or another, as the Russian player, I become a little bit timid um, towards advancing towards German infantry out in the open, even though extreme weather is in effect. The LV does not negate first fire moving in the open. So you still end up with either a -1 if your first fire uh, moving in the open and using an assault movement. That was a good roll. Uh, like I said before, the axis was not great. Here, the German player did score a nice hit on the leader only, but the leader affords you 6 movement factors, and in order to win this game, you need to move. And leaders are important in this victory. Here we are. We're trying to use our AT guns to the best of our advantage. So the center looks pretty dim for the Germans. This flank was quite successful. The other flank, not so much. As you can see here, I have a 628 with a commissar on skis going way out and reaching this side, exiting this side of the wards is part of the victory locations. Or part of the victory conditions. The Russians win immediately upon exiting 20 or more exit VP, excluding crews. Do not count AFVs are worth 2 exit VP off the west edge. So here we kind of scored a lot of success, and I made a serious error here. And here I kind of forgot about these guys because what transpired here was really horrible. And these boys going up the safe route through the woods was not a good idea. Still turn 2. Did we roll for the sun? May have forgotten to, but so right here the AT gun is trying to take out this stack of infantry, and I believe it did a good job. So much for the stack of infantry. Like it's two squads, but still that represents 2, 4, 6 exit VP right there. That was an important stack. And maybe you should consider, bringing the good order leader, these leaders that are worth a lot of points, through the sides, instead of down the middle like I did. The scenario continued at least for 6 turns. And at turn 5, I knew something was wrong, and I continued anyway. And here we are in melee already. The German player kind of advanced, and luckily we had the skis off, because with skis on in close combat, there's a +2 detriment, -2 for your opponent. Meaning you got to take those skis off and swing for the heads. Okay. So we are at German turn 3 already, and this is the reinforcement phase. So I did determine that these, looking at chapter H, that these tanks have to use platoon movement. So I kept all the tanks together. So it's 2 platoon of 3 tanks each, and they're all coming in through the same hex. And actually, what I should have done was probably bring up a platoon here on this side of the board. And as you can see, there is a road up to this point. And then this is a depression. So you would have to pay 4 to get up to that hill, 5, and an extra movement factor because of the extreme weather, 6. And for each hex, more or less, because of the snow conditions, it's more or less 2 movement points per hex. So your 17 movement points are halved, in essence. And now, as you can see here, though, bringing them up on this board, there is a exit path all along, all the way to here. And the other thing I could have done was excessive speed breakdown. There's 6 tanks, so they're worth 12 points, and you need 20. Give or take a couple of units that will go into a firefight in close combat. Those tanks are an asset. Anywho, let's see how turn 3 for the Russians turns out to be. We rallied a couple of units. And this AT gun has the beat on these fellows here. Alright, let's continue. I can't believe I prep fired there. I can't believe I prep fired. I should have said one squad this way, another squadron leader the other way, and tried to put the beat on them. But I guess what prevented me was the fact that, there's a fire group there, more or less. All right, let's continue along. Let's see if we can increase the resolution here, zoom in. And I'm keeping these jokers here because this guy's in melee. 3 to 2 odds instead of advancing them. Here too, it looks like I made a bit of a mistake. Let's move out and see. Here, I moved 1 unit across, and it looks like I got a really serious wreck here. Of this fellow just rolled a 4. I believe it's down 2. And the dude half squatted. Moving the other unit up. The other unit was just a leader. And now instead of sending these guys along their merry way, I send them in here to take out the AT gun. You know why did I want to take out the AT gun? So I can get my tanks out safely. Um, let's take a look at the info here. So in 1941, which is they have APCR of 5. It's a quick setup weapon. APCR in the 50L. Let's take a look. APCR in the 50L. Let's take a look at the Chapter C charts. That's a 17 to kill. It's pretty good against the 11 for the T-34s. Um, and then if you hit the turret, they have weaker turrets. I believe the Lex factor down is 8. I was quite disappointed not to be able to find the armor factors here on the MMP charts, and you can rarely find them um, on the RAD charts. When I pencil them in, we're used to finding them. So I felt I needed to take out these guns. What's going along? And here I am. Here's what I really regret. I really regret um, sending these guys to take out this gun. I kept concealment for the longest amount of time, and it was really frustrating for the Russians to try and take out that gun. And this guy here, this AT gun, despite some high rolls early in the game, he did some damage, enough to delay everyone. Pinchuck there, and then all the other units keep away CXing. Changed it to hit, not so successful there. And now we're moving in tanks. Let's focus in on the tanks here. Using platoon movement. I'm not too sure if I did that correctly. I may have exceeded my speed limit there. Quite, quite possibly exceeded my allowance. And they still were devastated. But that's platoon movement, folks. So that's where they made it. Ah, oh well. Defensive fire. Let's see what happens here. He fires on the usual suspect. Doesn't look like I got raped. Couple pin results. That's about it. 2 hit 12. That should have taken out the gun completely out of the game. It wasn't a question of repair. Um, it rolled its not breakdown, but malfunction beyond the repair number due to extreme weather. Now we're firing here. I don't think that was effective at all. We go into close combat here. Oh boy. Sometimes I lose control of the mouse. That's the beauty about playing with a board game, is you never have these technical difficulties and glitches. So we're trying to resolve this attack here, close combat. Well, you got 13 to 4. Come on, man. So why am I still in melee? Just half squatted it. They were rolling for ambush. Nothing happened. Rolled a 10 on the CC roll. And now we're bringing up the German reinforcements because it's German turn 3. Now, had I known what these Stugs were capable of and what not they were not capable of, I would have used them differently. But I was lucky in the way that I did use them because I did find out that they have a PCR of 7 for some reason or another. And I think it was because of the Stugs that, the Stugs and Staller. This guy's Staller, were the reinforcements 3, 4, 6, 8. Right? 4, 6, 8? Were it 4, 6, 8 or 4, 4, 7s? 4, 6, 8, so I was right. Jeez, really? No, I thought they'd have more of some. Oh well. We're a prep fighter. Shooting at the um, shooting the AT gun at first. IFT. Right there. A little firefight here. We managed to break both Russian squads. Rolled pretty badly. Pinned another unit. Here comes the central attack here. 2 hit, 3. Axis allied at Asan, but no effect on the IFT. 2 hit. Snake eyes. Snake eyes. One guy's going to get a critical hit. No sound. Random selection. And the leader broke. Everybody else got a test check, and another dude rolled an 11 on the morale check. There we go again. Shooting the mortar this time. Now we're shooting the AT gun on the left flank, the German left. This guy's going to get away scot free in the next turn. He got away uh, free but not unscathed. Squad half squatted. These guys are trying to do their job, which is to take out the AT gun and let the armor pass. But and it was incredible how these squads were just delayed by the Germans. Some bad luck there. I decided to. This fellow here, what happened was he ended up getting leader creation. Got a 6-1 leader. Rallied. Now he's chasing these guys away. Who are those guys? The 9-2 leader that broke and a 6-8 squad that broke in ELR. Now, what are their route options? I don't think I had any. Because he would be getting closer to here if he tried to route in this direction. So, but at the same token, the Russians, in order to win this game, they have to rush that side of the board and get off the board. There's no other option. I just forgot to route these guys at one point or another, but Eventually, I caught that mistake and fixed it. And here, there were just back and forth attacks, um, taking forever to eliminate one squad at 3 to 1 odds. Here's the route. In this case, the Brokies could not route. I did declare no quarter as well, and not wish to take them as prisoners. I ended up going into close combat with 1628, a 6+1 leader, and a and a 467 squad. The reason why I'm laughing, it's 2 to 1, 1 to 2+1, because you have to take the +1 leader theorem, I think, into account in close combat. But for now, the squad, the 6 to 8, is um, pinned, and the other squad just dropped his LMG and said, "Goodbye, world. This war ain't worth it for me anymore." Anywho, we're at turn 3, German turn 3. 2 more turns to go. That turns into a melee. So we have one melee situation. The Russian armor is approaching rather quickly. I got a leader to stave off a couple of units that infiltrated here. These guys just got delayed with close combat. This fellow here is going to leave his line of sight and skedaddle like a rabbit looking for a carrot. So let's move rather along again. And at this point, we're on Russian turn 4. We're past the reinforcements stage. Trying to rally and self-rally some units and do some repairs. That AT gun was busted. Just couldn't take the Russian cold anymore. There we're doing triple point blank fire and point blank fire to take out the AT gun. It just didn't work. In that case, I just kept concealment. And here you see the Russian squads running, and the true hit was completely ineffective. But this lonely German squad right here did enough damage to thwart a Russian victory. Uh, Very big contribution here. Here we prep fire to eliminate this fellow here. Here I'm not sure why I brought this guy back to here instead of not bringing him forward. It's probably because this guy repaired his machine gun, and this guy had a machine gun. And there was no LV hindrance. Anywho, at this point they let this guy go free because they have to concentrate really on these guys that are about to come and are worth more points. You have to let go of some. Down here, we want to jump into close combat and eliminate this guy here. We want to eliminate this fellow here. Oh, we did actually fire on him. No big deal. Here comes the Russian T-34s using their platoon movement. This time I think I had a better grasp of movement. Off they go. Um, when I see platoon movement like that, it reminds me of the scenario 15, the old system, COI, with Hube's pocket. What a crazy scenario. Oops, let's zoom out. Hey, so we have nobody on board 78 anymore. All the action is down here, more or less. Let's see if we can center it a little bit more. There you go. All right, going rather long. Here we have a little bit of a firefight again. We lost concealment on the two-hit rule of 11. And actually, that should have broken the gun. Oh well. Very insignificant because we resulted in a 3-1 um, close combat situation. And now the Russians are back at advancing. And it's really unfortunate what happened here, what transpired there. I should have risked it for the biscuit and attacked that AT gun, knocked it out, and brought some of my armor in that direction as well. But the terrain in that place is prohibitive. We got a melee situation here, a melee situation there. Here we should have had a melee situation, but no. What happened was the crew with 3-1 odds. We finally rolled a decent roll and got rid of them. So the armor is pretty much free to leave, and at a 12 potentially 12 VP. That's a good asset to have. Prep fire phase turn 4. Now the AT gun turns to a new target, and I'm repositioning my troops in order to stave off any Russian advance. Simple as that. This guy was probably around here, but anywho, I didn't notice that it went on a half X. Here's my first exit VP, which is only 2 points. 2 points there. This dude is, who's going to catch up with them? Without skis and in the snow condition stuff, um, the mouse is going bonkers. Let me try one more time to connect it. Oh, it don't matter. It'll prevent me from doing too much wibble wobble. So there you go. He's off. He's off. And now here comes the Russian armor using clumpy and slow and clumsy platoon movement. Boink, 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 boink. And here we go again. Another platoon. Keep them in motion. These guys did their job. They're advancing. Here now the MMG opens up. The AT gun changes targets. Oops, undo that. And somebody took aim here, knocked them out. Here I am approaching fearlessly approaching the German squads with my 628s. And some good two-hit rolls there. 3s and 2s. This dude. This guy's stuck in a melee. The assault moved to there. Uh, to hit. 3. I wonder what THT means. To hit target? Morale check. Breaks. This guy's pretty much out of the fight now. Because, or as my youngest son used to say, kabaz, it's already Russia turn 5. There's only 3 turns left. And look how much ground they have to cover. Anywho, My biggest regret was I completely forgot about this stack here. And this guy's fanatic. So he has a morale of 9 with an 8-1 leader. You know, uh, he's unstoppable. But at the same token, if you're advancing out in the open, there's no LV, and you get a -2 modifier to um, your opponent gets a -2 attack factor or attack DRM against you in his to the benefit of his attack. When you're dead, you're dead. You know, you 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 will survive a morale check, definitely, right? More likely than not, but you can't survive a KIA. You can't. And if you are dealing with a lucky opponent that has very low dice rolls, you want to avoid giving the opportunity to this fellow to do that to you. And the only way to do that is by being clever enough to move out of his line of sight, get out of his line of sight, and skedaddle, meet your victory objective, and not try to prove that you're the better shooter than he is. Simple as that. And now here is a couple more victory objectives. So we had here, I believe, 3, or is it 2? 1, 2, 2. And here we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 12 would meet the victory conditions. If I added these guys into the mix and instead of having to shoot them, um, take the risk of confronting these boys, taking them out in close combat, or move that leader behind so these guys could readily rally. Um, Somehow I ended up leaving these guys without a leader. It's the fog of war. Somehow I ended up pushing him too far forward. So look at that CC rule. Look at that CC rule. Let's take a look here. Wow. That CC rule. Half squatted a 6 to 8. A 6 plus 1. Clink did the trick. Clink. So we're at turn 5. So we're on the last log, and let's continue along. Axis turn 5. Rolling for weather. Trying to get some self rallies going on. Oh, we rolled a 4. We rolled a 4, and what this represents is civilian interrogation success against a friendly attacker. Now, if you look at the rulebook, there are some DRMs and some outcomes that can be adverse. And I looked at Chapter E to see what could happen. Is if you rolled a subsequent roll of 7 or more, the units being informed are TI, go TI, um, temporarily immobilized, temporarily immobile. So I said to myself, I gotta choose now a unit that will benefit from this information. Choose a unit in the back that's already in the out of the fight. Sure enough, I rolled a 9, so he went TI. So civilian interrogation can go bad. It's not always that great. And then they prep fired, broke one of the 2 6-8s. This fellow here, the AT gun, started firing. Hits after hits. These guys were phenomenal on the rate. And then now we're rolling there. And now we're taking a shot there, but we had no way of succeeding. I forgot to mark it no APCR, but I eventually did. Rolled a 7, which was the last APCR round, and ended up missing. The whole point was, hey, boom, we're gonna take these tanks and get out from here. I ended up splitting these two platoons in terms of direction and made them go in two different directions. But again, you'll see what happened. So there was some exchange of fire here, um, resulting in morale checks and whatnot. I just noticed that guy was not placed properly and corrected his positioning. These guys broke. These guys broke trying to advance against a medium machine gun position. And I completely forgot that somewhere around here I had units underneath these tanks that could move. And I completely forgot to move these guys as well. Um, which means that I was concentrating on saving their butts as opposed to running them off the board and getting that victory point. I relied on a few units making it past the goalpost, and I kind of played it too safe with the other units that were valuable only insofar as, or not only insofar as, but valuable for eliminating enemy units. Kind of kept them in reserve for no valid reason. And right now, it's too little too late because at the end of the game, we're down to 2 turns. Now that this situation becomes dire because you really have no room to maneuver other than let's get the hell out of here. Here's where I split up the two platoon of tanks, put one in stationary in bypass, and the other one is going to go out there. Keep in mind that the cost of going up a hill will be detrimental. It's not going to be a cakewalk. And I already determined that the victory for the Russians would depend on how effective they were at exiting. With 2 player turns left, so um, they would probably have to roll for excessive speed breakdown. It would be 2 to go there, and then 6 to go up the hill. That's 8. 10, 12, 14, 16 off. But with platoon movement, these boys, or at least this last guy, would not be able to make it. Unless I used excessive speed breakdown, which would probably immobilize one unit due to random selection, and the other guys would need to roll a task check in order to move. Anyway, let's see what transpires here, guys. This is the finale, the swan song of the Russian army here. A couple of insignificant battles here and movements. These guys are pretty much out of the fight. Essentially, what happened here is, check it out. We rolled Snake Eyes on the morale check, and subsequently to that, we rolled 14 on the heat of battle roll, which makes this guy broken and disrupted. Broken and disrupted because he has nowhere to surrender to. He can't surrender. He is broken and disrupted, pretty much. That's what happens with a heat of battle roll of 12. Boxcars, ladies and gentlemen. Did a video on that. And what else do we got here? Okay, come on. Let's move along. This is where the action is going. Allied turn 6, defensive fire. And this guy here, what happened here is he could see this guy because he's still not in the depression. Takes a shot with APCR, rolls a 4, 75 star APCR. I could be wrong, man, but when I look at these red charts, they're actually P charts without the item factors listed anywhere in plain view, for crying out loud. Man. Sorry if I'm a little bit of a Karen/Darren today. But I think that a game should be playable in every respect, and in order to be playable, it should have clear armor factor. There they are. Armor factor. You can look at them and see 7.11. Obtaining final to kill armor factors. So you have armor factors, which go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 11, 14, 18, and 26. And the reason why they're not in the same format as the rat charts, from what I gather, is because they have the armor factors and aerial armor factors all in one box that allow you to determine if an opponent is entitled to the aerial factor. You get both at the same at the same um, at the same glance. So I have no reason to be a Karen/Darren now in order to find on the actual MP charts the armor factors. They're in the same chart as the aerial factors. I shouldn't have bought these red charts. Nah. So anyway, I determined that the APCR 50 should be 17. I mean, what does this tell you? Here, look. I right click, show info. I got AP7. And the gun is a 75 star, but the gun size there on the APCR table, Charlie 7.32, doesn't have a star. 75 star. Has a 75L, doesn't have a 75 anywhere. So I took it to be a 20. Jeez. So anywho, boom. Not that guy. Tank Echo. So moving along, let's remove the show info. Moving along, one tank down. I'm trying to remove a knack there. And here, the exchange was fit for that. One unit going back, broken, and another unit grabbing. Now, that was nail in the coffin, really, because I was relying on all the armored fighting vehicles to get off the board in order to fire. This guy was marked with AP fire, but there was nothing much I could do. You could ask why didn't I fire the MGs? The MGs, while they're in motion, these guys are concealed. The assault moved to there. It wouldn't have been a worthwhile shot. It would have been more sniper bait. I tried to take a shot there, not much. The whole attack here was thwarted on the Russian right. Completely thwarted. Let's zoom out and see. See? Other than 3 units escaping, the German line, everything else is gone. I mean, there's 6 to 8s for crying out loud. If you can't use them at close quarters, what can you do with them? They only have a maximum of 4 hex range. You're not going to be at a range match. Anywho, last turn, the Germans advance close to the Russian armor, and they're going to pass their Patsy. I'll tell you that much. So here's the test checks. They all get in. Staller got in. Staller kind of predicted where these guys would go. And guess what ensues afterwards? Bang! That's Snake Eyes and their CCV value of what was it, 6 +2 because they're in motion. I'll put that as a burning wreck. That's 2 tanks down. There's another CCV, and I think ultimately the last guy got immobilized and abandoned because they didn't pass the test check. And that is what she wrote. This is the end. This is the end. Um, Despite knowing where the German locations were, more or less, and despite these handicaps, I don't know what I could have done better as a Russian player in order to win. Um, some bad luck, and I guess I shouldn't have put all my eggs in one basket, or maybe I should have, and concentrated a horde of Russians against one flank, advancing the infantry to the maximum extent possible, and then boom. Now, having said that, I'm playing this game against an esteemed opponent, Ken Rodkowski, um, the Polish stallion, and we'll see how things ensue. So far, I think Ken's being overly cautious with his troops, just like I was in the center here, and a little bit uncoordinated for leaving these troops without a leader. Mm. Well, that's where the guy went. He went to escape and become a hero. No, no. He kind of either perished. I remember I named him Yerno. He's nowhere to be found. MIA, guys. Missing in action in our board game. Hold on. Casualty bins. Let's take a look at the casualty bin. Does Vassal give you a... Nah, it doesn't give me an average. But let's see. Here's the casualty bin. 11 CVP versus 8 for the Russians. Let's see. We have one squad, another squad at ELR. There he is. He went bye-bye. He went bye-bye. Here, look at the casualties here on the German side. Not fun. Not fun at all. We got 1, 2, 3, 3.5 squads, a crew, a mortar, an AT gun. Should have been 2 AT guns. Gone because of the harsh weather on the Russian side. And it wasn't so bad. It's 2.5 squads and a very important leader. How he perished, I don't remember. Even after going through the log, I don't remember. And look, I think it was a very fun scenario, even playing it solo. And it's even more interesting when you're playing it against a live opponent. I think I'm going to play it again if I have the opportunity to do so. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this this video here. I am recording it 1 week in advance, and the reason why I'm recording it 1 week in advance is we have a lot of family responsibilities. A couple of notes. I dropped in on a game throughout this week, and there's a fellow, and I was just observing. I didn't say anything because it looked like they were playing in a virtual tournament. So the scenario involved Russians versus Germans, and looked to be about lit war because there were Panthers, and the Russian player wasn't having too much luck with the Russian armor. Can you blame him? Can you blame him? You can't. But then the situation started becoming hopeless for the fellow because he was under the impression that there was not much you can do against the Panthers with 14 armor factors. There's a Panther a stone throw away from his infantry. His infantry is concealed. It's immobilized. perfect target for close combat. And there's that option, taking out the armor in close combat. The other option is deliberate immobilization. And don't forget, they have to pass a toss check every time an immobilized AFE has to take another toss check. You hit them, they fail the toss check, they pop out, you shoot. I wish the fellow had seen my video on how to tame a tiger. You know, and these are insights that I gathered from playing against German armor. And that's number one. And then number two, there was another fellow that in journal number 2, I believe, he wrote, and this was a U.S. Army captain. Guy's name. He designed quite a few scenarios. I don't know what's going on with my head. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff about how to take on German armor. It's not invincible. And the other thing that I pounce upon, thanks to Jim Bishop, is the white rate of fire box, which permits you to have benefit, an advantage in gun duels. And gun duels, it appears, despite the fact that I did a video on it, and I believe Neil Yunan has done one as well, it's something that is completely overlooked in this game, and I think it's the most quintessential important element in squad leader, because what happens? How do you simulate 2 tanks firing at each other and they both knock themselves out? I think the only mechanic that allows that is in this game, and it's called gun duels. Yeah. So a couple of short channel news. This could be a video in itself, but I'll give you a brief overview. I am play testing every Monday a scenario, which I'm not going to reveal until it is published. Tuesdays, it's always Into the Rubble, and I squint when I say that because Into the Rubble is not something I really enjoy, but hey, it is what it is. Wednesdays, it's going to be head-to-head versus another player with this scenario. I started Bald Hill with Mark on Thursdays, and Dennis Freeberg. What can I tell you? The fellow is a maniac. He wanted to play Breakout from Borisov, so I'm playing the big board scenario with Mark, and with Dennis, and this time I am the Germans, and I have a plethora of Russians attacking me. So wish me luck on that, guys. Hey, 60-minute video, and I was planning to have only 30 minutes. Thank you all that have recently subscribed. Thank you all that have been here from the get-go. There's a lot of you. I can't mention each one of you one by one. Thank you for all the support and the views. I really greatly appreciate it. Have a safe one, guys. Take care.